Table for one, please. I keep the word please neat, folded, and polite. I don't hand him anything else. He drags his gaze over me, jacket, hands, skin, and lets it sit there. We're full. I'm looking at 4 empty tables. They're reserved. For when? Later. How much later? He shrugs like my questions scuff the floor. Later. I can wait. Put me on the list. We do members first. I didn't see a membership sign. It's not the kind of sign we post. A spoon clicks somewhere behind me. I feel the room listening through lowered eyelids and lifted menus. My jaw warms. I breathe slow. Tell me what I need to do to be seated. Try somewhere more. Your speed. My speed, I repeat, tasting the insult he's daring me to swallow. I asked for a chair, not a race. We're not a takeout joint. I'm not here for a box. He leans his elbows on the host stand like he's protecting a gate that only opens for certain storms. Don't make this difficult. I'm making it simple. First available 2-top. I'll wait. For you? He smiles without softness. Could be all night. My fingers find the edge of the counter. I don't grip it, I hold myself instead. What rule am I breaking? He taps the seating chart. Standards. What standards? The kind our clientele appreciate. A laugh leaks from the bar, dry as a napkin. Bold, someone murmurs. Another voice shushes him with a clink of glass. The laughter isn't loud, it's worse than loud, it's comfortable. I'm dressed appropriately, I say. I'm on time. I'm hungry. That should meet any standard that matters. He flicks a look to the couple that just walked in. A hostess steers them to a window seat, menus slipping into their hands like apologies made to someone else. I watch the man glance at me, then at his water. The woman tucks a strand of hair behind her ear and hides behind the wine list. They had a reservation. The hostess whispers to me, voice small, like she owes me the explanation but not the truth. Did they? I ask. She doesn't answer. Her silence signs its name on my ribs. A young server edges close, eyes soft with something that looks like human. We could seat him at the corner too, Gus. Mind the bar, Casey, he snaps. I can hear you, I say. If you're going to refuse me, do it without hiding behind her. I'm not hiding, he says. I'm the owner. Owner. The word lands like a stamp. I nod once. Good. Then you can own your answer. My answer is no. To what? To you. Air thins. Dignity swims up like a stubborn breath. Say it plain, I tell him. He smirks. I don't have to. You already did. My voice stays even, and that irritates him. He straightens, tugs the cuffs of his shirt. Sir, you're making other guests uncomfortable. I'm asking for a chair. If that unsettles anyone. They brought their own weather. A fork pauses midair. A man at the bar pretends to study the game that isn't on. A woman in pearls whispers, "This is awkward," as if awkwardness is the crime and I'm the suspect. Look, he says, we've had issues. We don't want trouble. I'm not trouble. You're not the look. The look? The brand. I didn't know hunger had a brand guideline. He exhales the kind of breath meant to show patience while it performs punishment. You're free to take your business elsewhere. Why should I be the one to move? Because I asked nicely. I let that hanged word swing between us. Nicely. Nicely is how injustice dresses when it wants a tip, I say. A couple at a nearby table drop their eyes. The man murmurs, "Just leave it," to the woman. She squeezes his hand and doesn't. Look up. I know that grip. It says we're good people, we just don't want to get involved. Their goodness has a back door and I'm standing in front of it. Put my name down, I say, steady. First available. What name? He asks, pen unmoving. I hold it. I almost hand him the sort of name that makes polite rooms work suddenly. Hard at their smiles. Not yet. My father taught me the power of silence and the price of it. Just write waiting. He smirks. Fine. Waiting. Estimated time, never. Then I'll start now. I step aside from the stand and rest my hand on the corner two-top, the one the server saw, the one the owner pretends is invisible when it's me asking, I don't sit. Not yet. I let my palm feel the grain, the promise of a plate I'm still. Denied you can't stand there, he says. Tell me where I'm allowed to stand, I answer. I'll measure myself against your permission and see who looks small. His eyes flick to the room, searching for support he can borrow. The room offers cutlery, a cough, the theater of non-involvement. The server, Casey, returns with a glass of water balanced like a secret. Her hands shake. She sets it down on the corner two-top close to my hand. For you, she whispers. Casey, he warns. It's just water, she says, but I hear the apology caught in her throat. Even kindness learns to look over its shoulder here. I touch the glass, cold, clear, honest. Sir, the owner says, as if the word is an inconvenience in his mouth, you need to leave. I'll wait. You're disturbing the peace. The peace was already disturbed, I say, and I do not raise my voice. You just prefer it quiet. A chair scrapes. The man from the bar stands, then sits back down like he remembered his mortgage halfway through the motion. Another table pretends to photograph their dessert while they capture me on their screens. They don't tag their participation. They pixelate it. I'm calling security, he says. Call who you need, I answer. I'll still be here. My hands are steady now. Shame shrinks when I name it. Unease thins when I breathe through it. Anger cools into purpose, sharp enough to shave truth clean. I'm not here to win him. I'm here to refuse to lose myself. He waits for me to flinch. I don't. Last chance, he says. For me or for you. I take the napkin from the holder and lay it in my lap like this seat already belongs to my body. My knees bend, my weight lowers. I sit at the corner two-top he called invisible. Gasps are softer than I expect. Soft like surrender, or like the first crack in a wall. Fine, he spits. You want to play it this way? You'll regret it. I regret every room that asks me to leave before I've even arrived, I say. I don't regret sitting down. I set the water where I want it. I place my phone face down beside it. I lift my chin so he can see I'm not hiding in that glass. Shame doesn't like light. I give it plenty. Casey hovers, swallowed by the space between fear and decency. Do you want a menu? She mouths. I want what everyone else has, I say, clear enough for the room to own the words. The owner spins away, barking into a phone, calling someone to come and carry me out like an uninvited truth. I straighten the cutlery. I breathe in, I breathe out. I do the smallest, most radical thing I can do in this place. I sit down anyway, determined not to shrink. I set the water down carefully, telling myself to breathe. I open the menu, even though I already feel the weight of eyes pressing on my skin. I'll have the grilled salmon, I say. The owner cocks his head and repeats it back, twisting his mouth into a clumsy caricature of my tone. I'll have the grilled salmon. He drags the vowels long and lazy like he's pulling a rope. The sound isn't mine, but the laughter that follows stabs like it is. Two men at the bar chuckle, trying to cover it with coughs. A woman hides her smile behind her glass. My throat tightens. I grip the menu harder, edges digging into my palms. Is that what you meant? He smirks. Hard to tell sometimes. Yes, I reply, steadying my voice. That's exactly what I said. Sure. He shrugs, still grinning. We'll see if the kitchen can understand. The room hums with quiet complicity. No one says, that's not right. No one says, stop. Forks scrape plates, conversations resume, but the laughter lingers like smoke. I fight the heat rising in my chest. My father once told me, don't let them drag you into their mud. They'll say you can't stand tall, and then laugh when you bend. I sit straighter. Bring the salmon, I say, deliberate, and a glass of water. He leans closer, lowering his voice but not enough to hide. People like you don't belong here, you get that, right? The words slice clean. No flourish, no disguise. Just raw exclusion laid bare on the table between us. My jaw works before my voice does. I belong anywhere I choose to sit, he laughs, sharp and satisfied. Not in my place. The menu trembles in my hand, not from fear but from the storm trying to break loose. Rage claws up my throat, begging to spill, but I swallow it into a silence that holds more weight than yelling ever could. The man at the bar chuckles again, muttering, "Told you, Bold." His friend elbows him, eyes darting nervously toward. Duly, their cowardice tastes no better than the owner's cruelty. My chest burns. Humiliation presses heavy, but behind it, something harder stirs. Rage shaping itself into resolve. I hear my father's voice echo, steady as stone. Carry your name with pride, even when the world spits on it. Dignity is not given, it's chosen. I close the menu and place it down firmly, meeting the owner's eyes. Then watch me belong, I whisper. The tremor in my hand steadies, the anger cools into something sharper, and with it, the memory of my father rises like a shield. I hear you, I whisper to the inside of my chest. I hear you now. Lift your chin, my father used to say, not because you're better, because you refuse to be made smaller. Dad, what if they don't like it? I asked. Him at our tiny kitchen table, my elbows barely clearing the wood. What if they don't like me? Carry your name with pride even in storms, he said, tapping 2 fingers over my heart. It's waterproof. Even when they look at me like I'm lost, especially then, I see the day he let me shadow him to the tower where his company lived on glass and steel. In the lobby, a guard lifted a hand without lifting his eyes. Deliveries go round back. We're not a delivery, I said. My father touched my shoulder. Son, breathe. The guard finally glanced up, and his gaze slid off my father's skin like he'd found the answer he wanted. Staff elevator is to your left. I'll take the boardroom elevator, my father said, even and warm. Sir, executives use. I know what executives use. The guard blew a sigh across his teeth. Rules are rules. My name is Elijah, my father said, voice steady as a level. I'm here for the 9 o'clock with risk and audit. A man in a gray suit swept through the turnstile behind us. The guard's voice changed temperature. Good morning, Mr. White. Mr. White nodded at my father, then at the guard. No words, just a nod that said he saw everything and chose nothing. Dad, I whispered, say something. I am, he said. I'm saying we belong here. He met the guard's stare and didn't blink. Please buzz us in. The guard hovered over the button like it might burn him. If there's a problem upstairs, it's on you. If there's a problem, my father said, it's already downstairs. We rode up in quiet. I wouldn't look at our reflection. The elevator door because I didn't want to see my shaking hands. Why didn't you yell? I asked. He smiled at the panel numbers climbing. Because dignity is a compass, not a performance. In the boardroom, the air turned polite. Faces smiled, chairs scraped, coffee arrived. A director patted my father's back like he was lucky to sit so close to him, and unlucky to be seen doing it. We'll keep this quick, a man said, passing spreadsheets around me without meeting my eyes. We're all very busy. Take your time, my father said. We need to mitigate exposure in markets that skew volatile. Volatile like who I am? My father asked, soft as felt. No one answered. Papers moved, throats cleared. After the meeting, a partner I'd seen give speeches shook my father's hand and glanced at me. Bright kid, you'll want him to see. The world as it is. He already does, my father said. That's why he'll help change it. We walked out. The guard pretended to study the monitor as my father passed. My father pretended nothing at all, and somehow that felt louder. On the street, a taxi rolled by, then another, then another. Hands up higher, I said, waving both arms. Put them down, my father said. You don't have to beg for service you're paying for. A cab slowed, studied us, and kept going. My father laughed, a short sound with no joy in it. Storms, he said. Coats. Why won't they stop? They're answering a question you never asked, he said. What question? Who deserves to arrive? We ducked into a restaurant with white tablecloths that looked allergic to fingerprints. The host glanced at the door behind us as if expecting someone better to walk in. Reservation? The host asked, eyes skating past us toward the room. For Elijah, my father said. He scanned his tablet and didn't bother to hide the wobble in his mouth. "We have a high top near the kitchen." I requested a booth. "The booth is promised." "To who?" my father asked. "To regulars." A couple stepped in, pale, polished, breathless. "We forgot to call," the woman chirped. The host lit up. "We'll sort it out." My father took the pen from the podium, wrote his full name on the notepad, and rested the pen there like a period. "We'll wait for our booth," he said. The host froze over the ink. Mr. Elijah, from the company paying for your corporate catering," he said, almost smiling. "Carry your name with pride, even in storms," he added. But only I heard what he meant. They sat us. The servers recalibrated their faces. A manager swung by with a dessert menu we didn't order. The couple who'd breezed in before us tried not to look confused as they were guided toward the high top by the kitchen. "Was that revenge?" I asked, keeping my voice low. "That was alignment," he said. "I didn't grow taller just because they finally looked up. But it felt good. It felt necessary," he said. "Good is a bonus." On the way out, the host reached for the check like it was an apology he could hold. "We're honored, Mr. Elijah," he said, and his smile tried to be a bridge long after the river had shown him its depth. In the car, I stared at my reflection in the window. "Does it always have to be like this?" "For now," he said. "Not forever." "Why me?" "Because you are you. What if I mess up? What if I say the wrong thing?" He squeezed the steering wheel and then released it, the leather sighing under his hands. "Someday, the world will test you," he said. "It will poke every bruise you've ever learned to cover. It will ask you to shrink for its comfort. It will promise you a seat if you first give up your spine. And if I refuse, then you'll stand, and they'll call you difficult. What do I do then? You carry your name with pride even in storms," he said again, and the repetition felt like a roof. "And if the storm is a man with a smile and a key?" I asked. "You thank him for showing you the weather," he said. "And you walk through anyway." I laughed, and it sounded too young. "You make it sound easy." "It isn't," he said. "But it is yours." We pulled into our driveway. Porch light, night air. My father lingered with the engine off and the lesson still on. "Listen to me, son. They'll try to make you trade your dignity for entry. They'll act like your worth is a coupon you forgot to clip. Don't bargain, belong. Even if they say I don't?" "Especially then," he said. "Arrive anyway." The kitchen clock ticked behind us when we went inside. My father poured 2 glasses of water, slid one to me, and clinked my rim with his. "Storms," he said. "Coats," I answered. Back in the restaurant now, my palm resting on the corner two-top, I let the memory finish speaking. "I hear you," I tell him without moving my lips. I lift my chin. I steady my hands. I press the name he gave me against the inside of my chest like a passport that no one else gets to stamp. "Arrive anyway," I say to myself. And I do. I sat, with the menu closed in front of me, though I wasn't reading anymore. My eyes roamed the room, searching, begging almost for someone, anyone, to look back with something human. The sound of forks clinking against plates filled the air like a rehearsed soundtrack. Conversations hummed on, carefully avoiding my corner. The silence wasn't empty, it was full of consent. "Everything all right over here?" a man at the next table finally said. Not to me, but to the owner. "Perfectly fine," the owner replied with a smirk. The man nodded, satisfied. He turned back to his wine without meeting my eyes. I stared at him, willing him to see me. "Do you really not see what's happening?" I asked, though my voice barely rose above a whisper. His wife heard. She glanced up, cheeks flushing, and tugged at his sleeve. "Don't get involved," she murmured. Her words cut sharper than the owner's insults. They chose comfort over conscience, convenience over courage. "Excuse me," I tried again, louder this time. "Does anyone here think this is right?" Chairs shifted, glasses lifted, eyes dropped. Nobody answered. "You can hear it," I said, my voice trembling with both fury and hurt. "You can hear every word, and you'll keep chewing like nothing happened." The man at the bar coughed, muttering to his friend, "Not our business." "Not your business," I repeated, my jaw tight. "That's what you tell yourselves to sleep." The silence pressed down heavier than the owner's words ever could. Betrayal wasn't only in his smirk, it was in every fork that kept clinking. Every throat that stayed closed. I looked around one last time, eyes pleading. One voice, that's all it would take. But the quiet became another wound, deeper, because it was shared. And just when I felt the last thread of hope snap, a voice, small, but steady, broke through the hush. I sat there with the silence of the room pressing on me like a second ceiling, every clink of a fork reminding me I was alone. Then, from my side, a voice broke through. Soft, trembling, almost guilty. "I'm sorry, sir," the young waitress whispered as she set down another glass of water I hadn't ordered. "You don't deserve this." My throat caught. For a second I almost doubted I heard her right. "What did you say?" I asked, leaning closer. She darted her eyes toward the owner, then back to me. "I'm sorry. I can't." Her words choked off, but the meaning lingered like a fragile flame. A couple at the table behind me shifted. The man muttered, low but not low enough, "This isn't right." His partner tugged his sleeve. "Don't get involved." But he leaned closer, stubborn enough to let the words spill. "It isn't right, and we all know it." The weight on my chest lifted just a little. Small sparks, yes, but sparks still cut the dark. The owner's head snapped toward them. "Mind your business," the man bristled. "It becomes my business. When I'm forced to watch, then watch somewhere else," the owner spat. Every muscle in me tensed. The room shifted again, but this time not in silence. It shifted because the silence cracked. I felt it. I breathed it. The lie that no one cared wasn't whole anymore. I looked at the waitress, still clutching her tray like a shield. I looked at the couple, uneasy but present. The owner sneered, "Do you people really want to stick your necks out for him?" And that was when I knew. I could no longer sit here asking others to speak. If their whispers could shake him, my voice could split him wide open. I straightened, breath steady, and felt the decision harden in my chest. Silence would no longer be my choice. The chair scraped back, sharp and loud, cutting through the clinking forks and forced conversations. Every head turned. I felt the vibration in my bones, no longer trembling but carrying me upright. "Enough," I said. My voice cracked once, but I didn't sit back down. "You don't get to decide who belongs here." The owner crossed his arms, smirking. "I already did." "No," I said louder, the word shaking free from my chest. "Your prejudice does not define me. It doesn't define anyone you've turned away." Gasps fluttered through the room. Some patrons shifted in their seats, suddenly interested, suddenly listening. "You look at my skin and see a reason to deny me," I said, each word gaining muscle. "You mock my voice like it doesn't carry meaning. You tell me to leave because you can't stand to share a room with me, but I won't leave." The waitress froze with her tray, her lips parted in awe. The couple who had spoken earlier nodded slightly, courage finding small homes in their gestures. "I belong," I said, planting my hand on the table, "because I choose to sit here. I belong because dignity isn't handed out by you like silverware. I belong because my father taught me storms only matter if I bow to them, and I don't bow." My voice no longer trembled. It rose. It filled the air that had been so quick to suffocate me. "You will not erase me," I said, steady now. "Not with your smirk, not with your rules, not with your silence." The room went still. Forks stopped clinking. Glasses hovered midair. For the first time, they weren't pretending not to hear. They were listening. And just when the power shifted, just when the silence bent in my favor, the owner let out a laugh. Mocking, hollow, forced. "Congratulations," he sneered. "A little speech. You think anyone here cares who you are?" I smiled because the moment he asked that, I knew what came next. The reveal. The owner's laugh rattled in my ears, smug and sharp, meant to put me back in the chair of silence. But I stayed standing. "You think anyone here cares who you are?" he sneered, voice dripping mockery. I let the pause hang. I let the room lean in, breath caught, forks frozen. And then I spoke. My name is David Elijah Jr. The syllables hit the air like stones against glass. For a moment, no one moved. Then the gasps broke loose, spreading from table to table like a chain reaction. You mean? A man at the bar stuttered. Yes, I cut in. The son of Elijah, the CEO, who built the very firm that designed half the towers in this city. The man whose contracts keep restaurants like yours afloat. The whispers flared. Elijah's son, here with him. Chairs squeaked. Glasses set down too hard. The silence that once wounded me now shivered with disbelief. The owner's smirk melted, the corners of his mouth twitching. You expect me to— I don't expect you to do anything, I said, stepping closer, steady now. Because respect should never depend on a name. Not mine, not my father's, not anyone's. The waitress who had whispered her apology earlier straightened, pride flickering in her eyes. The couple who had muttered, "This isn't right," leaned forward, vindicated. You looked at my skin, I said, my voice carrying across the room, and decided I wasn't worthy of the chair I'm standing beside. You mocked my voice, like meaning only counts when spoken from your mouth. You told me I didn't belong, when all I asked for was dinner. The owner's face flushed red, his arrogance crumbling into something brittle. He opened his mouth, but the words failed. Now you know my name, I continued, but it changes nothing, because the shame isn't mine to carry. It's yours. Respect is owed to every person who walks through those doors, whether or not their name pays your bills. The whispers became a murmur of agreement. Heads nodded, hands tapped tables. A weight shifted, and for the first time, it wasn't pressing down on me. It was pressing down on him. The manager, drawn by the noise, pushed through the crowd. "What's going on here?" he asked, scanning faces, eyes widening as they landed. On me, I didn't need to answer. The room had already chosen to. The truth was revealed. The smirk was gone. And now, the consequences were coming. The murmurs swelled until the air itself felt electric. I stood still, letting the weight of my name, my words, and their silence settle over the room. Then another figure pushed through the dining floor, a man in a dark suit, his expression sharp with purpose. "Regional management," the waitress whispered near me, her voice just loud enough. "They called him." The owner stiffened, forcing a grin. "It's nothing, Paul, just a customer causing trouble." "Trouble?" I echoed, my tone steady but cutting. "You refused me service, mocked my voice, told me I didn't belong." The room hummed. A man at the bar finally spoke. "He's telling the truth." We all heard it. "Same here," the couple confirmed from their booth. The owner humiliated him. We couldn't stay silent. The waitress stepped forward, tray shaking but voice clear. "He warned me not to seat him. Said people like, 'Him didn't belong here.'" The manager's eyes hardened. "Is that true?" The owner sputtered, sweat breaking through his fake smile. "They're twisting it. Just misunderstandings." "No misunderstanding," I said. "You made it plain." The room, once complicit, now spoke with one voice. Patrons nodded, muttered, backed my words with their own. Each testimony was a brick in the wall closing in on him. The manager inhaled deeply, then exhaled with finality. "Gus, you're finished. Effective immediately." "What?" the owner gasped. "You can't." "I just did. Collect your things. You're done." A murmur of relief rippled through the restaurant, quiet but undeniable. Forks no longer clinked in shame. They tapped against glasses in muted approval. Someone whispered, "Finally." I exhaled, the knot in my chest loosening. Justice hadn't fixed the wound, but it stitched it. The owner stormed off, muttering curses too low to matter. The suit followed, ensuring his exit wasn't a bluff. I lowered myself back into the chair at the corner two-top, the wood beneath me no longer cold. For the first time that night, I sat not out of defiance but with peace. The silence of betrayal had transformed into a silence of reckoning, and I let myself breathe it in.